So making the orange financier. First step is to make the brown butter. So that is one beautiful thing. And you could use the brown butter in a lot of other things. So I thought showing how to make brown butter is first important thing. And then obviously using that to make financier should be that one product that I thought you shouldn't miss out. And especially adding orange in the flavor, and that is like readily available and it is not seasonal, they get all through the year. And that citrusy punch, that orange punch in every dessert makes a huge lot of difference, and I thought we have to have it. And we are coating that with milk chocolate and nuts mixed together, melted chocolate and nuts mixed together, and I'm just coating one side of the financier. I'm making it like really the gorgeous thing. To start with, let's start making the brown butter. Okay, so I'm just going to add the butter in the saucepan. And then switching it on. And so we're just having the white based saucepan. So we could see the specks of the brown butter, the fat solids that are separating and then caramelizing is what is going to happen. So first allowing the butter to melt fully. This unsalted butter. Okay, now so the butter is just going to bubble up and boil. I'm going to let that happen. Also because it is a wide bottomed saucepan, right? So it is just going to have like a broader surface area. I'm also going to first bring it down. Instead of just allowing it to quickly heat up, we're just trying to make the flame, the heat medium. Okay, so now we're just going to start seeing it melt completely, become very thin. Okay, so the consistency is like very thin and liquidy. Now the next stage, you could see the color changes, and we'll also be seeing the specks of brown butter around on the bottom of the saucepan and then also on the edge of the saucepan. So allow it, keep it on the medium initially to check how much time it is going to take from the stage to the next. And especially in the induction stove, you could check, wait and see if there is not too much change in the color from one stage to the other. I could maybe increase the temperature or the heat a little bit more. But I'm just going to wait. Now increasing the temperature by a bit. Allowing the butter to brown a little bit. It should turn golden brown first and then start to separate the fat solids, and that will turn brown. That stage where it is just going to foam up. So you can see the specks, the brown specks is starting to show up Okay, so you can see the brown specks here, right? So these are the brown specks, but I'm just going to allow it to, you can see how the brown specks are just coming down. Okay, so these are the specks that you see. So I'm just going to put it down a little bit more. So it's just going to be foamy. But what we are looking at is there you can see there is foam, but then there is also the specks of the browned butter, right? So you have this nutty aroma. Do not go cook too much, but then you also need to have the nutty aroma. Now, this is the most important thing in the financier, and that we just need to have that right. So now we can see the color is just turning to be the dark brown. I'm removing it off the flame. I just don't want to cook it furthermore. Also, okay, so you see the texture, there is foam, but then what you see underneath is that gorgeous brown bits. Now you immediately want to transfer it into the bowl. Along with the brown bits. You don't go beyond the dark brown stage. You could, for the sake of being little safer, to not brown it up too much, what you could do, stop it at the light brown stage, like it. What you see here, oops. Okay, what you could see here at the bottom, the color, you can see the butter that is browned. So this needs to cool down a bit. So that is why we start that as the first step. I'm just going to send out the saucepan, switching off the induction, and now I don't need the induction. So I'm just going to take this away. And the next step is to preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius and have the muffin. So you could have, see, there are quite a different kinds of pans that are available for you to make the financier. But then I found this one quite handy, and it is also safer. And because we are not going to have anything else like a cream or something that we are going to pipe on top, a muffin pan sounded quite good for me. But you could use pans in different shapes. So I'm brushing with the pan release. Silicone molds come out quite fine, but just to be safer, I kind of brush it with pan release, and pan release is always handy. You just make and then refrigerate it, so always don't have to go for butter and flour all the time. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this aside. And now the brown butter is there. Now here, I'm just going to add in, first step is to flavor the sugar. Now I'm just adding the orange zest into the sugar. Spoon is there, yeah. Could use a spoon. I'm just going to put the entire thing in the bowl itself because I just want to flavor the sugar completely. So the sugar and the orange zest. If it was a bigger bowl, then I could use it with my hands to flavor the sugar completely. So this is just going to get the zest, the orange's aroma thoroughly combined with the entire batter. So this step, don't miss out. Okay, so after this part where you can see how the natural orange zest is just turned the sugar into some really beautiful orange sugar, orange flavored, and then the color is also orange. So into that, I'm just going to add all the dry ingredients. So it starts with flour. So basically, almond meal is one most important component of a financier, right? So almond meal goes in. And then we have the salt, baking soda, baking powder going in. So it's a pretty straightforward and a simple recipe. Like the dry goes in, the only step that you need to keep in mind is to flavor the sugar. So in the dry, you're just flavoring the sugar into orange. So I'm just breaking the almond meal and combine it thoroughly with the dry. Okay, so into this, I'm just creating a well, adding the curd in it. And then the vanilla as well. And I'm just going to fold this first, combine. I'm going to get the stand mixer and then beat this to combine quite well. I'm just going to beat this for some time. I'm going to aerate the batter. After which finally I'm just going to add the browned butter. So getting the KitchenAid in. Fixing the paddle attachment, putting the bowl in. Okay, and then going to beat on medium high speed for about 2 minutes to 3 minutes until you have the batter really light and creamy. I'm just stopping to show how it is at this stage. Okay, so the batter looks like this. It's quite soft and flowy by a bit. Okay, but I'm just going to beat for another a minute or two. Beating on medium high speed for 1 more minute. Okay, so it's a smooth batter now, you can see. Okay, and into this, I'm just going to add the brown butter. I'm going to lift the bowl out. This is just dripping from the paddle. So now the brown butter, you can see. It is quite nice, beautiful. And now it's just cooled down to a certain temperature that is quite right to go in. So start with making the brown butter, and that is the right stage for you to add it into the batter. So adding all the brown butter that was made into the Financier's batter, and going to use the spatula first to mix it up and combine, after which I am again going to beat it using the stand mixer, the paddle. So first combine it together. So putting it down and then going to beat it for a minute. You don't have to overbeat up to the stage. So the batter is done, and I'm going to remove the paddle. I'm just going to mix this up well. Okay, so you can see the beautiful specks, brown specks from the brown butter, and then the orange zest as well. Everything together is like another beautiful batter. Now, you could fill the muffin cups with maybe say ice cream scoops, but then I prefer filling up a piping bag with the batter. So then I could just control how much I'm just adding into each of the cup. So I'm just going to scrape it out and then fill in. So I like to use a jar like so. So filling in is not quite messy. So you could scrape it and then get into the jar and then scrape it down. So now I'm just going to get the prepared muffin tray. So the piping bag is filled with the batter. I'm just sealing the top, and I'm going to use the scissors to just snip the top, and then I'm going to start filling in. I'm just going to go around, fill half, like 2/3 is just right. Let's start with half and then tap it down, after which you could add a little more as needed. I'm just going to tap this down. Okay, and then go in and fill a little more. So that recipe on this size of the muffin pan is going to 6. I could have made flatter ones and made maybe 2 more. Okay, so I'm just going to flatten it out a bit. Okay, so this will go into the oven and get baked at 180 degrees Celsius for about 20 to 22 minutes until you have it completely cooked and the top is golden brown, and then the sides are almost getting released itself from the sides, and the sides are also golden brown. Okay, so after it is baked, then we will get it back and then we will make the milk chocolate coating done, into which we are going to dip this half of it, and that also I'm going to show, but I'm just going to allow the time for this to bake. So sending this into the oven. So this is the financier that is baked. Now it is quite firm to the touch because it is very cold now. After it comes out of the oven, and that one step is to allow this to be like really firm enough to be able to release it from the the mold. You want this to firm up. Okay, you just need a plate. I'm just going to take it out from the mold so it's firm. So once it is out of the oven, allow it to cool down like maybe for 10 minutes, after which you can just, so I'm just going to turn it towards this side, and then because it is a silicone mold, it pops out beautifully. Okay, so the orange financiers are just popping out beautifully. So I'm just going to line these up here. Now we're just going to melt the chocolate, melting the chocolate. Okay, so the chocolate is just being melted in the microwave, and we're having the mixed nuts here, and I'm going to put the mixed nuts into the melted chocolate, and I'm going to take this, dip half of it, and then allow this to set. So that you could maybe put it in the fridge for 10 minutes for that chocolate, the nut mixed into chocolate to mix up well, set well, or you could just leave it in AC, and that will take a little more time to set completely. Okay, so that's the milk chocolate microwave. I'm just going to mix it up, wait for the lumps to melt fully. If you have the bigger chunks of the chocolate not melted fully, then we'll have to pop it back. And obviously now the financier is quite cold because it has come out of the freezer. So after taking it out from the oven, I put it in the freezer. So I will be able to release it from the the silicone mold easily. So now the chocolate is fully melted. Okay, and now I'm just going to add the nuts. Okay, so I'm just going to pick the Financier out. Okay, and dip. I'm just getting the parchment paper. So I'm just going to line this on the parchment paper. Okay, so just take this. Okay, so now this is in the room temperature, not like really very cold. Okay, so half of the Financier, dipping it and drip the excess back. So that's how it is coated. Drip the excess back. You could do dark chocolate as well. So that is the choice preferred. So dripping of the excess, okay, and the sides and then the top. I'm going to put it in the parchment paper, dipping it on one side fully. And allowing the excess to drip. Just swirling around, so the top also has half of it coated, and then the bottom also half of it is coated. Dripping the excess out and then allowing it to be in the room temperature. Okay, so this I think need a little more milk to finish all the 6. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for some more chocolate, and this is quite not very runny at this stage for me to be able to coat really well. So the excess that you see that is dripping here or here, right? Okay, there we could just chop it off to make it clean. Obviously that little dripping will be there. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up. So you can see in the meantime the chocolate is set well. Okay, the chocolate side is set well. I'm just going to cut through. So you can see this beautiful orange Financier. You can see the decks of the brown butter also in the inside, and how this texture is just, beautifully come together. Okay, so that's the beautiful part of the Financier. So now how do you eat? Is like that hard portion is just going to break the milk chocolate, and then the inside is going to be the soft sponge, which is the Financier. So you're going to taste it with the milk chocolate coating on the outside. There is nut crunch, and then that is the orange sponge. The side which doesn't have the coating is just going to be quite soft, and with the fork you will be able to pick it up, and then what you see is the brown specks of the brown butter. So that will be the Financier. We just kind of dissected this beautiful Financier together, and that is how it will be when you're just going to scoop it up.